Wake up, Adam, they are getting close.
Thank you for the freedoms we live. I said thank you for what you did for me and my kids. Thank you for the freedoms we live.
China rejects U.S. request for meeting between the defense chiefs. Apparently, they're not taking our calls. This isn't something that's new over the last year. The tensions and, of course, the relationship between China and the U.S. has supposedly soured. But again, we don't know since everything might be a circus. It says that China has rejected a request by the United States for a meeting between their defense chiefs on the sidelines of the annual security forum in Singapore this coming weekend. The Wall Street Journal reported Monday. It says overnight the PRC informed the U.S. that they have declined our early May invitation for Secretary Lloyd Austin to meet with the PRC Minister of National Defense Li Shangfu in Singapore this week. The Pentagon said in a statement to the Journal, adding that the department believes that open communication to ensure the competition does not veer into conflict. So competition into conflict, something that has been talked about for years now. I personally believe we are heading towards a butting of heads with China, but I'll tell you why that in just a little bit. In fact, we'll talk about all of the current events tonight over on Marfoogle TV, so make sure to join us in just a second. We'll be right back right after this. Nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough.
Thank you for the freedoms we live. I said thank you for what.
All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam, a.k.a. Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Today, we have a lot to talk about, and I just first off want to say Happy Memorial Day, and thank you to everyone who gave their life for our freedoms. This is a very special day for a lot of you. We have a lot of military in our midst here in our audience, and of course a lot of legacy military that have had fathers, mothers, grandfathers, grandmothers in the military that may have given their lives to this service. Now, we only get one day for vets and one day for memorial. It's kind of sad because they probably deserve pretty much every year, all year round, because honestly, the freedoms that we're losing right now, I bet that a lot of them would be rolling over in their graves if they saw what was going on right now. Mind you, everything is happening with of course, with the politics and everything that's falling apart. It would be easy to say that it's getting pretty bad right now. So I hope that all of our vets out there, and of course anybody who has family that sacrificed their lives for service, I just hope that you, of course, realize today is a very special day. So as far as China not taking our calls, this is something that has happened many times, and we'll talk about this and much, much more. If you want to access all of our sources, you can go over to our website at marfooglenews.com, and you can see every single article, tweet, video, picture, document. Now, today might be a little clunky. Right before the show started here, my Stream Deck died, so I can't switch between screens unless I go over and look at it. So again, it might be a little clunky, but I do want to show you. If you go over to our website, marfooglenews.com, they won't take our calls. You'll see all of the sources for today's show. You can actually grab a secondary device, say a tablet, and you can go in and look at all of those sources. Now, let's bring in my co-internet brother, Dex James. What is going on, and how are you doing today?
Hello, Adam, and hello, Fugle fam. I'm doing just fine.
So, Dex, will you talk about China rejects the U.S. request for a meeting between the defense chiefs real quick and give us your thoughts on this? I'm going to try to set up a hotkey here real quick.
I think that it's pretty clear that they are in a position of not, or of at least wanting to show that they're not happy with us, that they're not in a good position with the state of political affairs between our countries. And that's clear by the fact that they haven't answered phone calls that we made to them. They're rejecting. They didn't just not come to a meeting, or they didn't just, not answer the phone on this one. They actually formally said, hey, we're going to decline. We don't even want to meet with you. We're not going to meet with you. We're not going to have our national defense, the PRC Minister of National Defense, I think his name is Li Shengfu, meet with you. No, it's not happening. So they are outright declining it. Not just ignoring it. So they're taking it to a new level. This is, all par for the course if we're headed into a conflict with this nation. It certainly, these are the types of actions and activities you would expect to see. Now, whether or not this is, prescribed, or if it's truly authentic, I guess is the question a lot of people have when it comes to China and the U.S. and what may or may not happen over Taiwan. I think that's the big question is, where do we stand as a country? And are we going to actually do what we've said we were going to do, or are we just playing a lot of lip service right now? And all of this is a big show. So time will tell ultimately. And maybe as we get closer, we'll start to see better signs that give us a signal. But I think the main thing we have to understand is that we're definitely heading in that direction, whether it's prescribed or whether it's an organic event. There's nothing that shows that things are getting better between the relationship between the U.S. and China, especially over Taiwan.
Yeah, many believe that Taiwan is an inevitability. I do believe many of the people that are saying that they are going to do some sort of embargo, trap them in, and not even fire a shot at first. Think about how we reacted and how we were hesitant to go in and fight for UKR. I can only imagine if they start encircling Taiwan, is everybody going to say, yeah, we've got to go to World War III with China to protect Taiwan, especially the administration? Are they actually going to go in there and unblock Taiwan and go in and take out Chinese ships? Not a lot of people believe that will happen. So it's quite a scary thing. Remember to thank your mods tonight. Again, let's get an M in the chat for our mods. We have great mods down there. Make sure to also go check them out over on marfooglenews.com/friends. You can find that right at the very top. It's the third box over. If you want to just go to the website and click on friends, you can find all of our friends and all of our mods. Now, Venice's Grand Canal turns bright green as probe launched into whether eco-warriors are responsible. So this is quite odd. It says that Venice's Grand Canal turns bright green as probe is launched, and a stretch of Venice's Grand Canal turned bright green today, prompting police to investigate amid speculation it was a stunt by environmental activists. Gondoliers could be seen punting through the phosphorescent waters while tourists took photographs of the green area. The green was seen to stretch from the Rialto Bridge up to a long part of the canal. Local news have reported the police suspect that the water was colored by eco-warriors, possibly inspired by a similar display of activism from the 1960s. The Vigili del Fuoco, and I'm probably horribly butchering that, Italy's Fire and Rescue Service said that it was helping the Regional Environmental Protection Agency take samples for testing. So this is what it looks like. It straight up looks like something like glow in the dark. I have never, obviously, many people have not been to this place and probably have it on their wish list of places they want to go sometime in their life. The gondoliers, whisking you through a romantic city. Well, today I guess that was kind of screwed up. It literally looks like tranny fluid or something. I don't know what else to describe that as. Dex, go ahead.
This is also something that's done in major cities when they're celebrating, or they've done it in the past. When they're celebrating St. Patrick's Day. I know in Savannah, Georgia, they used to do it. I don't know if they still do. They would turn the river green. And I guess there's something, obviously some sort of color that they can put in there that does it. And I'm assuming it's safe for the environment, or they wouldn't do it. So I wonder if that's what they used here, because it's very similar looking color as was seen in other cities during typical St. Patrick's Day type events when cities have rivers in them. Sometimes they do that. But yeah, this is kind of interesting. Obviously it's not a natural thing. If it was, that would be a little bit more creepier and scarier. I think people would wonder like what's happening to the water.
Well, how do we know that though? Here, that's the thing that they say they think it's climate activism. They're taking samples. What if on the off chance that this is something, it makes you think of like nuclear waste or something. Now, I think we covered where like Fukushima just released water. Obviously, this isn't, nuclear waste, but who knows? What if a local, Italian mafia or something was dumping nuclear waste in it or something? Or something like this. I wonder if something like this at some point could be something like a T attack, right? Something, a bio attack of some sort. Now, this isn't. But could something like this happen in the future and they go, oh, it's just dye, and it ends up being something far worse? This is really weird. If it was blood red, that would be, obviously people would be talking about the Bible, but it's lime green. So is this a stunt? Is this somebody? But how much dye do you have to dye this much water? I mean, this must have been like a truck full. I mean, how do you... It must be super strong if you can dye this much water. I mean, if you look at the pictures here, it's like that's an insane amount of water to be that bright green. You would think that would be a lot of dye if it was dye. What do you or I have seen something like this before. We covered it like a couple years ago where it was algae and it was a crazy algae bloom. Now, one thing to think about, too, is if we see something like this in the future happen and it's because of, some sort of weird thing like, pole shift has different animals moving and the underwater ecosystem is screwed up or something. But, yeah, we'll see. I wonder what those test samples are going to come back with. And then, Dex, do you want to talk about the debt ceiling?
So apparently over the weekend, a deal or a compromise was reached. A deal was reached between the speaker and the current pres. And what's left, I guess, is really for Congress to approve and vote on it. So that's a big deal, and the Senate as well. So it's not done per se. But this is actually, and this article is definitely coming at it from a political point of view. So take that for what you want. But what came of this, and the reason why it's coming at that angle, is there was really this hardline stance that said, hey, we're not going to, one side was saying we're not budging at all. And the other side saying, you got to give us something. And it seems like, while it doesn't seem like they got a lot, they got something out of it. So for what it's worth, there was a handful of things, mostly around the expansion of government spending, trying to keep it within 1% of annual growth for the next 6 years. So in other words, the federal spending should not grow more than 1% per year for 6 years. So that's pretty significant, given the fact that federal spending tends to grow significantly. They love to spend our money. That's what they feel like they're there for, I think, sometimes. There's definitely there's a list of about 11 or 12 things bulleted in this article you guys can go look at, but it talks about all the different things that are in this deal. Of course, anytime politicians get together and make deals, there's always good and bad in there. And I'm sure there's plenty of bad just as much as there's potentially good. And ultimately what they need to do is get to a point where we don't default and the country can continue going financially and not stop paying employees, stop paying for debt, cause our stock markets to crash and everything else. That would not be good. But ultimately, I think there's some stuff in there against to hold back some of the funding going out to the IRS, some of the other spending that was happening that they were concerned about, given the fact that we're in a position that we need to manage our debt, but we're just spending a lot of money as a government. I don't think they said anything in there about all the money we're giving away to UKR. That would have been nice if we'd called some of that back, but This is progress in the sense that I think they're getting towards a potential solution. Now, the big question is, can they wrangle everybody in Congress, which, there's a lot of division there, to actually come together and agree on this agreement that the House Speaker and the President have made?
Yeah, but Dex, that's assuming that it's not all BS. I mean, all these Congress people, all the senators, they all shake hands behind the scenes, and they all have their main agendas. They have their own agendas, but then they have the overall agendas. They all go to these meetings together. They go to these parties together, and they figure. I did believe it was a lot like House of Cards, if you see that movie in real life. But now I believe that they're more under the same umbrella, less than they have two sides. It's more like they're all working towards something because they all have some sort of money going into their pocket from bigger groups that are basically unifying. What's funny is they show you how divided they are, but I bet you they are more unified than you think. I think that this is all to push in a new change, and that this is all going, in my opinion, to whatever is planned. And this is the problem. Then comes the solution, and then of course comes a different country leading the order. And then this is so nuts. And by the way, people don't talk about it enough. But this. Anytime I read the word Taliban, I think about how for 20 years, especially today on Memorial Day, these men and women lost their lives, thousands of them. And the second we left, the Taliban took full control over Afghanistan completely. It was within I don't know how short it was. It was a very short time period. Essentially, they took full control almost immediately. They now have full and absolute control of this area. And it's just nuts to me that they spent 20 years doing what? And then when they left, to leave in a hurry, besides that whole debacle, to actually know that this group is not only, now a bigger group and of all after this, it is now in full charge of this. So if you think about the stuff they said that these guys do and how dangerous they are, it's pretty crazy to think that not only are they now back in charge and have full control, but they also have, $700 million worth of our gear and weapons and Apaches and all sorts of crazy stuff. It's just not good. But this says that they claim we will conquer Iran soon amid water dispute. We'll just call them the T-Ban, threatened on Sunday that it could conquer Iran as tensions increase over water disputes between Afghanistan and Iran, leaving at least 3 people perished. It says that senior T-Ban commander Abdullah Hamid Khorassani, a.k.a. Nasir Badri, has in a video message warned that the group will fight against Iranians with more passion than they did against the U.S. forces. It says, quote, "We will conquer them soon if Taliban's leaders give the green light for jihad." So something's about to go down in there. And it says the Taliban would fight the Islamic Republic's Revolutionary Guard with, quote, more passion than they fought the U.S. forces. That was a big piece there. And it says, as well as the Taliban commander's video, another video released by a terrorist organization taunting Iranian President Abraham Raisi went viral on social media. In the video, a Taliban member fills a single yellow jerry can with water, sarcastically telling Raisi, "Mr. Raisi, take this water barrel and don't attack. We're terrified." So it seems like this could be the next distraction, or it could be the next big event over there, and we always follow it because it could get pretty nasty. And then this is a supposed story. Some of the recent ones have been very, very wacky. The toddler in North Korea sentenced to life in prison after parents caught with a Bible. They're saying that a literal toddler was sentenced. It says a toddler was sentenced to life imprisonment in North Korea after the child's family was found in possession of a Bible, according to a new report by the U.S. State Department. Although the incident took place in 2009, it has been highlighted in the department's new report on international religious freedoms this month, citing data from Korea Future, a non-governmental organization documenting human rights abuses in North Korea. One case involved the 2009 arrest of a family based on their religious practices and possession of a Bible. The entire family, including a 2-year-old child, were given life sentences in political prison camps. This, even for North Korea, this sounds kind of made up. This just sounds nuts. I mean, I could see the kid being taken away and being trained as a soldier or something, but not, I guess it says political prison camp, so he could be turned into something like that. I would believe more that they would take that kid, put him with people to be trained and brainwashed into some sort of role for them, and the parents never see the kid again. But it's pretty wild headline, and of course that's why folks are rolling with it. It says there are an estimated 200,000 and 400,000 clandestine Christians in the North Korea, mainly in the West, where many are believed to have settled after the explosion of interest in the religion in 1907. Korea's Future report was based on interviews between 2007 and 2020 with 244 victims of religious persecution who had been subjected to arrest, detention, forced labor, torture, denial of fair trial to right of life, or sexual violence for practicing shamanism or Christian beliefs. So one thing we could see is if more and more stories like this pop out, and it's heavily, pushing how bad they are, and essentially just going, talking about the over the top human rights abuses, is it could slowly make a narrative for why other countries need to go in and take North Korea out, which might be something to do with the whole China and U.S., China and the rest of the world, because North Korea is essentially the buffer between South Korea and China. So I just wonder if something like that is coming in the near future, and it would have to pick up really fast. So slight prediction is if that was the case, it would happen in like the next year, because it would be something that would have to progress relatively fast, considering all of the geopolitical stuff with Taiwan and everything else. Dex, do you had a comment on the last story? Is that right?
Yes, actually, yeah, I certainly do. So there's going back to the T-Ban and what's going on with them, and I ran to the store. This may be nothing, but if it escalates greater than it is now, this is the thing I want you to keep in mind. The fall of the USSR was right after the debacle with them in Afghanistan, and when they basically were losing to the Mujahideen. Operation Cyclone was from the US CIA, a program that financed the Afghan Mujahideen from 79 to 92. Okay. The T-Ban, and by the way, 92 is important. We stopped in 92 because in 91, the USSR fell. That's why we were doing it, right? We were fighting against the USSR, but doing it via the Mujahideen. But by the way, the T-Ban is actually the Mujahideen. They were created from that group after then, that time period. So keep that in mind, because we not only do we leave stuff when we left, we funded them way back in the day, and it wouldn't surprise me if we don't fund them again if they go after the I country, which is our big adversary right now, especially with IS. So if they start to do something significant, much more than this little skirmish right now, and they're really serious about it, it would not surprise me if we don't find that we're funneling, probably covertly, money and weapons and other things to them. The same people we were going against for many years.
I feel like there's just some big Fantastic Freddy headed our way. And then before we move on, if you haven't already, make sure to go over and check out, of course, Energy. This is a really, really, really awesome solar generator. And if you haven't seen these before, I would highly recommend watching a couple of the videos explaining what they are. But they work like Lego. The Flex 1500 is their flagship system that's modular. It can be expanded. And, of course, it is built like a tank. This is one of the best brands out there, and that is actually why the Air Force and the Air Force Research Military Lab ended up teaming up with Energy to make the Flex Tactical. So this was actually directly designed with not only energy, but the U.S. Air Force Research Laboratory. So this one is military grade. It has a heater for extreme colds. It has dust and water resistance, and it has clamps to where you can basically take this thing and 5-10 batteries hooked onto one thing. But again, this thing is definitely the whole tactical unit. This is if you want the whole shebang. Most people do not need this. I have the Flex 1500, the normal one, and this thing is awesome because you can add batteries. You can build it up over time. You can leave with 1 or 2 batteries on it and just throw it in your car and take it with you for a job or for using your tools. Or you can actually have this be a whole system with 96 batteries. You can essentially make a wall out of this. Not only that, you can mod it to where it changes the overall performance. You can add in a smaller mod that actually allows it to triple the input. So instead of 4 panels, you can do 12. Again, that is a mod you can do. You can do a mod. It's a skinny kind of Lego that you put in there, and it actually makes it so you can turn it into a UPS or uninterrupted power supply. So this new UPS rapid charger just came out. I don't even have one of those yet, but once I do, this is going to be my main system. Right now for UPS, I have the Energy X2, which is down here. This is all built in one. It is UPS right off the bat, and it is not expandable, but you can dual link them, so you can actually double the output and double the capacity if you get 2 of them. So that is a really sweet system. It's got a lot of really cool features. Make sure to go check them out. Every single time that you go through any of our affiliates, you end up not only getting a huge discount, but you also help our channel. We're on our own, we're independent, and we're basically facing an uphill battle with everything that is going on with media, news, current events, and of course, all of the platforms. So thank you guys for helping us. We don't have any backup. We have you guys. So thank you, Marfia, and I appreciate it. But not only that, this will save lives, and I think that most people understand how important it is to have power, let alone power that is silent, that people won't be able to hear from 3 blocks away, and it doesn't cost $5 a gallon for gas to run this thing. You just put solar panels out in the sun, and you have free power every single day. And it can be stored, so you can use it later on. So that's the great part. Marfooglenews.com/energy, INERGY, and make sure to use the code Marfoogle. All right, and then Japan puts missile defense on alert as North Korea warns of satellite launch. Now, we mentioned this before, and I'm really confused on, they're super worried about this satellite. And we questioned this earlier, like what is this satellite? They have said some things about it, and it didn't seem like there should be this much worry about it. So I wonder if they're telling us everything. It says Japan put its ballistic missile defenses on alert on Monday and warned that it would shoot down any projectile that threatened its territory after North Korea notified Japan of a satellite launch between May 31st and June 11th. So this is an event that is possibly coming in the next few days. And mind you, they have shot a bunch of missiles over Japan, and Japan has never done anything. So for them to say that they're possibly going to take something down and it may be a satellite, this is kind of odd. Dex, did you have a thought in your brain about if this was possibly a FOB system or something? Like they say it's a spy satellite, but it's weird that they're going to take this thing down or say they're going to.
Yeah, and the actual quote is, "We will take destructive measures against ballistic and other missiles that are confirmed to land in our territory." So if I guess they're confirming that it's going to land in their territory, because if it's landed in their territory, it's too late to take any type of measure against it. I don't understand the quote. Either you're going to take it out or you're not. Now, mind you, they are using an ICBM. They have to use an ICBM to be able to get to space. So that's something they're not allowed to do. They're sanctioned against it. The UN says they're not allowed to use that. Of course, they've tested them before when they're not allowed to use them. And a lot of times when those have gone over Japan, that's when Japan gets upset. This presumably would go over the northern area of Japan in its path to space or to orbit. And that is their biggest concern is, hey, you're using tech you're not allowed to use, and you're sending it over our country. So that's at least the message, the narrative we're given right now. Now, should we question more? Yes, we should. That we have no clue what they're really doing. They have actually tried numerous times to get to space with a satellite. They've only been successful twice. They have 2 that are up there. The last one was in 2016. But nonetheless, they're so shady. This could be anything this could be another test. It could be an actual satellite. It could be an EMP. It could be the first launch setting off
the quote?
Starting up World War III with Japan.
Well, you saw the quote actually doesn't say anything about a satellite. It says we will take destructive measures against ballistic and other missiles that are confirmed to land in our territory. They're saying they're launching a spy satellite, and for some reason Japan really never does this, and they said this specifically that they will take down any ballistic or other missiles. So, in fact, they're basically saying that they're out of nowhere saying they'll take down missiles, but North Korea is saying they're launching a satellite. Do they know something we don't?
No, they're using a missile. They're using a ballistic missile
to launch the satellite.
Correct.
But why would I guess they're saying that that the parts that drop down after they launch the satellite, that's what they're going to do? Or are they hinting towards that they think North Korea is actually lying about the spy satellite and is going to launch something that may try to hit them or something? I don't get it. And of course, all the previous stories about how they've been hyping up North Korea being absolutely horrid the last 2 months, which they are, but why is media so invigorated about covering it now?
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Adam. I think the fact is that there's such a lack of transparency and such a attitude of doing whatever they want and going against everyone that they don't trust that they're claiming it's a satellite. Nobody knows that it's really a satellite. This could be, their first warhead they've launched. Who knows? And I think that's why Japan is so concerned, because they're the first line of defense, so to speak, against NK, because it's right there and it's coming over their country outside of SK, which doesn't. I don't know if they actually would have the capability of taking it down that quickly, where Japan probably does, because they do have Patriot systems and other systems that can take it down.
Weird. And then a couple of people said that that the Oogle was down. I tried it. Well, I was here. I didn't have any issues with it. I don't use it much because I try to. The only way a lot of the times I use it I type DuckDuckGo into it because it's built into everything, and then I click DuckDuckGo through it, and I do that on purpose so they know I'm going to DuckDuckGo through them. But yeah, is there something going on? Let us know. We can add something to the show if there's breaking news. Make sure to let us know in the chat. And then this is so weird. It's going on with the Restream chat. This is odd. There are some weird glitches happening lately. And then Lukashenko health rumors swirl amid claim he was hospitalized after meeting with Vlad. I'm sure you can probably guess where this is going. It says rumors are now circulating again about the health about Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko less than a week after he insisted that he was not going to die on state TV. Valery Tsepko, a 2020 Belarusian presidential candidate and opposition leader, claimed in a Telegram post at the weekend that the 68-year-old Mr. Lukashenko was in the hospital in Moscow in, quote, critical condition following a meeting with Russia's Vlad. Speculation about the Belarusian leader's health began earlier this month after he appeared at Victory Day celebrations in Moscow's Red Square on May 9th with a bandage on his right hand and looked unsteady on his feet. He missed the lunch hosted by Mr. Putin. Later that week on Sunday, the autocratic leader of Belarus did not address the annual celebration of National Flag, Emblem, and Anthem Day as he usually does, with his prime minister reading a message on behalf instead. Mr. Tsepkalo, of course, claimed that the Belarusian leader was urgently transported to Moscow's Central Clinical Hospital after his closed-door meeting with Vlad. It said that while admitting that the information was subject to further confirmation. It says, quote, currently he remains under medical care there. Leading specialists have been mobilized to address his critical condition. Blood purification procedures have been conducted, and Lukashenko's condition has been deemed non-transportable. So just thinking about all of the possibilities and the things that could be going on here and the different, routes that this could be heading. Lukashenko and Belarus has been a big part of this whole world stage since they said they were moving weapons in there. They, of course, might be joining with them. They made a quote basically saying the only way that we'll join Vlad in war is if we directly get attacked by one of the nations, by UKR or by NATO. That's the only way we would join them. And that's when we said, man, this is like a setup for a Fantastic Freddy. I wonder if they're going to come out later and say that he was supposedly poisoned either by Vlad or that they say he is ill because of something like an attempted takeout of his life, and they blame it on, say, NATO or the U.S. or somebody else. But again, none of this is absolutely confirmed, and it's just it's like everybody's unhealthy, supposedly, according to all of these rumors. But these are only rumors. Is this, what's funny is what they pick to cover. It is important in the grand scheme of things, but I don't think it puts a cog in anything, because whatever is planned to go down is going to go down regardless if Lukashenko is there or not. That's my thoughts on it. Who knows? Maybe it would change if Lukashenko is gone. They've said all sorts of things, that he's basically put himself in power and that everybody hates him. I don't know what is true because I don't live there. And then we have nuclear weapons for everyone who joins Belarus and Russia, Putin ally promises. This is totally the other side of the coin here. It says Alexander Lukashenko, a close ally of President Vladimir Putin, promised nuclear weapons to any nation that joined Russia and Belarus. The comment came just days after the Belarusian leader confirmed the transfer of Russian nuclear weapons to his country. Putin has periodically hinted at a nuclear escalation since the February 2022 invasion of UKR, dramatically increasing tensions with the United States and the West. Says it's very simple. You have to join the union between Belarus and Russia, and that's it. There will be nuclear weapons for everyone, Lukashenko said in a comment aired Sunday night on Russian state TV. Says, quote, I think it's possible, Lukashenko added, saying that he was expressing his own view. We need to strategically understand that we have a unique chance to unite. Now, I do think about the smaller countries that may have some pretty crappy leaders, and they say, whoa, hey, if we go with these guys, we'll have nuclear protection, and we'll finally be on this world stage. Dex, as far as getting these, saying this, are they also saying that he doesn't even have the power to really offer this? But I wonder who would jump on this boat.
Well, he doesn't have the nukes. He's only got them because Putin put them in his country and gave them to him. So I guess he's inferring that if anyone else joins, then you would get the same treatment. And I think they're really trying to reach out to the other non-NATO members that are in the Eastern European area. But here's the other thing. Like, how did he make these comments Sunday? Now, mind you, it says aired Sunday. It didn't say he was interviewed on Sunday. If he's supposed to be in the hospital, like we said on the prior rumored article. So what is it? Or did they put this out and this was a soundbite from when, back on Victory Day or some other time, and they just cobbled it together and put it out to cover for the fact that this story broke that he was in the hospital, and they're trying to make it look like he's not in the hospital. So yeah, the headline itself and the statement is, very big in a sense of telling anyone that joins them they're going to get nukes. It's questionable if he has that authority, but it's also very interesting that this airs Sunday right after this information is coming out that apparently he's been in the hospital and is non-transportable.
Hold on, I gotta pull this up. If there is one, let's see. I wonder if there is one. Okay, that was a pretty. Oh, dang it! I missed who said that. Well, you guys know who said it, so give credit to the proper person there. This is it. You get a nuke, and you get a nuke. Check under your seat. Everybody gets nuked. That's pretty good. Everybody gets a nuke. And then Russian spy whale surfaces in Sweden. We've talked about the beluga whales before, and well, actually, before they had dolphins too. They had this is like straight out of Austin Powers or something. And there is real units that have these trained spy whales, and this is something that these are extremely smart animals, or I guess would you say are they mammals, animals? And it says, first discovered in Norway's far northern region of Finnmark, the whale spent more than 3 years slowly moving down the top half of the Norwegian coastline before suddenly speeding up in recent months to cover the second half and onto Sweden. On Sunday, he was observed in Hanöbostrand off Sweden's southwestern coast. And it says, quote, we don't know why he has sped up so fast right now, especially since he is moving very quickly away from his natural environment. Sebastian Strand, a marine biologist with the One Whale organization, told AFP. It could be hormones driving him to find a mate, or it could be loneliness, as belugas are very social species. It could be that he is searching for other beluga whales. Believed to be 13 to 14 years old, Strand said that the whale is at an age where his hormones are very high. So their age is like the same thing as like a teenage boy. It says the closest population of belugas is, however, located in the Svalbard archipelago in Norway's far north. The whale is not to be believed to have seen a single beluga since arriving in Norway in April 2019. Norwegians nicknamed it Havaldamir, a pun on the word whale in Norwegian, Haval, and a nod to its alleged association with Russia. When he first appeared in Norway's Arctic, marine biologists from Norwegian Directorate of Fisheries removed an attached man-made harness. The harness had a mount suited for an action camera and the words Equipment St. Petersburg printed on the plastic clasp. Directorate officials in Havladimir have escaped an enclosure that they may have been trained by the Russian Navy as it appeared by accustomed to humans. Moscow never issued any official reaction to Norwegian speculation he could be a Russian spy, but it says the Barents Sea is a strategic geopolitical area where Western and Russian submarine movements are monitored. It is also the gateway to northern route that shortens maritime journeys between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. So they've also trained these things to go down and find cables. That is another thing that I read about previously, that these things can find underwater communications cables and mark them. They can actually bring a tag and tag things with different beacons. In the event if they were going to take something out, they could actually have beluga whales do the job rather than divers because of their ability to be able to dive and how smart they are. These things are incredibly smart. I've only seen one up close once, and that was basically a tourist type thing, and I was blown away that you could literally see that this thing had a personality and that it was super smart. Otherwise, most people have seen the videos of these beluga whales. They have the huge bumps on their head. They are incredibly smart. It is really, really quite fascinating to actually think about this, that these things are probably being utilized for some nefarious reason. Wonder why, though, that this whale is out of its area. I wonder if it has something to do with magnetic north shifting or something's going on with the ocean. Who knows? Or is it doing it on purpose? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. And then thank you, Kelly Z3C3CD. Thank you for the super thanks on the last show. And then thank you for the new members, Mir504. Thank you. Bones and Tub Show. Thank you so much for getting your Marfia badge. And then, of course, Temple and Chris, thank you for joining the fam. Articuno Gaming, thank you for joining the fam. Starshine, David Bruton, Stormblade X69 Wags, Terry Quinn, Purple 186, and East Tennessee Preparedness. Thank you guys. And yeah, we're 19 days into the Marfia badges. So 11 days left if you want to be in that group. All right, and thank you, Zen1AZ. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. I'm going to watch tomorrow, sleeping early tonight. Much love, Foogle fam. Zen1AZ, thank you. And thank you, Jane from Tennessee, Bones and Tubbs, Be Real Beast, Sweatin' Ministries, Carol, Joseph Newhouse, and Kush Monster. Thank you guys for your support on the last show, including After Shadow 162. Thank you, and thank you. All right, and then we'll go over to UKR's Defense Ministry says its Storm Shadow long-range missiles have hit 100% of their targets. Before we get to that, I just want to remind you, if you haven't already, make sure to go over and check out marfooglenews.com/prep. This is where you can get 25-year shelf life food at a huge discount. There's $200 off right now on a 3-month supply of freeze-dried food that will literally last until 2052. This takes up virtually a third of the space of normal food as far as if you were thinking about a 3-month supply, because it is freeze-dried. They subtract all of the water and water molecules out of it. It shrinks it down. It's sealed into Mylar bags, and then it is then double sealed into buckets. Now you can get a smaller package. You can get a 72-hour kit for a go bag. You can get all sorts of things. But this is one of the most affordable ways at $200 off and under $600 right now. If you break that down by the day, it is incredibly affordable. It is about a third of the price as some of their competitors, and it will last 25 years. It is a really, really great way to bulk up your supplies and to have something there that you know is going to last. The price on freeze-dried food has tripled in the last 3 years. So if you do wait 3 years from now, you may have to pay 3 times as much. If you did end up getting this today, you would still have 22 years left on the shelf, and you wouldn't have to pay tomorrow's exorbitant prices. Go over to marfooglenews.com/prep and make sure, as long as you use that link, you'll get the discount automatically. Again, it is a great deal, but make sure to also go check out all the other stuff they have there. They have anti-radiation tablets. They have the Alexa Pure water purification system. And, of course, they have all sorts of other really cool gadgets. So that's, again, marfooglenews.com/prep. Dex, do you want to go over UKR's Defense Ministry says its Storm Shadow long-range missiles have hit 100% of their targets, or according to them.
Well, if they fired one and it hit one, then they're 100%. But we don't know the actual number. But they, this is a claim they're making. They're saying that these new, and I'll remind everybody, the Storm Shadows were given to them from the UK. We covered this a while back. This was a significant longer range type of missile or cruise missile that was supposed to be fairly decent, fairly good. And they're claiming now that they're having 100% success with them. I think they can reach about 155 miles, and that can get fairly deep into Russia if they wanted to, if they're not targeting them in where the local skirmishes are along the border. But yes, of course, they're making these claims. It's Ganda at best, and we don't have any other third parties to confirm any of this. We don't have news agencies there watching and telling us everything. We only have what's approved that comes out of UKR, and this is the approved message from UKR that they're 100% successful with these. Now, good for them if that's true. I'm sure we'll hear another version of the story coming from Vlad. I know they like to say that once they got these, this sort of had the Russians shaking in their boots, so to speak, because they were nervous about these, that this was a big deal. And it was demoralizing, as they called it, to the troops over there. But, all of these are just claims. This is all rhetoric. And there's nothing really to back this up other than the country itself making the statement.
And the reason why a lot of people do not believe that country anymore is because there's been multiple fake stories, like the Ghost of Kiev or the Snake Island story, or multiple other stories that they said happened and they just didn't. So there's a lot of Ganda, and UKR and Russia are both from the same school of propaganda. They both learn the same. They're pretty much related in a lot of ways if you go back through ancestry, but same schools of propaganda as well. So you see the same kind of things said on both sides, and they both contradict each other, so we don't know what exactly is true. And then Russia issues arrest warrant for Lindsey Graham over UKR comments. Now, if you haven't seen the video, it is supposedly edited out of context. But there's still, it's kind of hard to find like why he's like saying, Lindsey Graham sits back and they edited it. So he says, he goes, yeah, and Russians are dying. I think he says, maybe does he say a lot of Russians are dying? He says, the Russians are dying. And then it clips it to him sitting back and go, it's the best money we've ever spent. So that pissed a lot of people off. It even pissed people off that aren't supportive of that. They just said it was unprofessional. I agree that if it was said the way it was unprofessional. I don't know how they took that out of context, though. It says, well, Graham appeared to have made the remarks in different parts of the conversation. The short video of UK's presidential office put them next to each other, causing outrage in Russia. Now, I actually thought that they were going to say that it was a deep fake at first because people were saying this is wrong, this isn't correct. But they're saying that they cut out middle parts. I would like to see the original video, but I mean, because if you cut out parts of a video, you can take anything out of context and turn it into something else. At the same time, what was he saying that part too? And it makes Russia look dumb if they're believing a out of context video if they didn't watch the original and they're making official statements based on a badly edited video, or not even, it's actually well edited, but if they see the original, why would they've got an intelligence agency, why would they base it on what he's saying? Unless around the way or roundabout, this was kind of saying the same thing. Why he said, even out of context, yeah, and the Russians are dying the way he did, I don't know. It didn't seem very, did you see the original clip, Dex?
Oh yeah, I saw as it's being referred to the edited version. Yes, I've seen that, and I was like, wow, that's kind of harsh if that's what he said. I was kind of taken aback by it myself.
For sure, it definitely was like, what the heck? What is he saying? And it says, well, Graham appeared to have made the remarks in different parts of the conversation. The investigative committee, the country's top criminal investigation agency, have moved to open a criminal inquiry against Graham, and the Interior Ministry followed up by issuing a warrant. Now, there was also tweets saying that because of these comments, that they threatened not only to give him an arrest warrant, that came from the government. A propagandist on Russian TV said that he should be taken out permanently. A lot of people put that together, and then it spread like wildfire on Twitter that basically the Russian government said that he needed to be taken out. It is two separate statements by two separate places. The government, there was the investigative committee calling for him to have an arrest warrant, and then there was a propagandist or their TV state media, them saying that he should be taken out. So two separate things. And there are sources for both separately. But a lot of people took that, and because people tweeted it out without having the proper information, it caused a big slurry of craziness today. And then here's what the home of the future might look like according to AI. Dex, do you want to go over this?
We get all sorts of stuff from AI now. It seems like every week there's something new. How's the world going to end? What is it going to look like if this happens? What's going to look like if that happens? Well, they've now asked if they could be presented with what the future of our homes will look like, specifically about 2050 was the time period. And they used an AI art generator, a Mid-Journey, to bring these predictions to life. So if you take a look at the pictures here, they even have a celebrity chef in the kitchen, Gordon Ramsay in one of these. But, you can kind of get an idea that it actually looks pretty cool or futuristic. What they're showing, the very modern looking, when you look at the house and the car. Now, I don't know how the car got to that spot on the second picture there. Maybe the driveway sort of is behind it, but it's like posed out in front of the house, like it's sitting on its drive pad. But that's a pretty cool looking house. If that's what a house is going to look like in the future, it's a lot of glass, but I wonder, if you want all that light coming in, keeps you awake. And then another picture that shows a very digital looking room with holograms and surfaces that project information. So they are predicting that, it's almost like watching the Jetsons, right? You look at the Jetsons house and the Jetson style, but this is sort of the prediction of AI and what our homes will look like in 2050. And there's even one with a swimming pool.
It looks like
on
a
here in
stapler.
a big bubble.
The house looks like a stapler. That does not.
It does.
I guess if they have those windows that they have in the, in all the, what do you call it? In the movies where they're able to, the spy offices where they're able to push a button. Well, I guess some houses have that, where they push the button and the windows go dark. I don't know what that's called. And then you see this in a lot of futuristic movies where there's screens everywhere. Personally, I am hoping, and after seeing a video by Brian from High Impact Flicks, I think that if folks ended up going and watching the video he posted, he ended up getting his for Father's Day or before Father's Day, he digitized a bunch of older videos of him and his 5 kids, and you can literally see what kind of dad Brian is from that video. And I wish, to be honest, I wish I had a dad like Brian. We have somebody in our family like Brian as far as how he acts with the kids, not regarding his YouTube content or anything else. We had somebody who he reminds me of in my family. His name is Alan, and he would be the Santa for all of our Christmases, and he's just over the top and just great with kids, just funny as heck. But if you see that clip with Brian, it makes me really, there's part of me, and I think a lot of you may agree with me, that kind of wishes that things would reverse back a little bit. And I know that a lot of people want it to go full on and they want tech to go forwards. I have a problem letting go of that old-timey before cell phones. And I understand that every generation's like, I can't get this new stuff. I get the new stuff. I was in a unique generation where I grew up with it and was able to, I got, cell phones came along and all of that, and I was still able to learn and pick that up. But what it has done and how it's changed the world is very clear. Anybody that's in my generation, the last generation that, actually went out and played outside, that had payphones, that had landlines and used to play in the street and play outside and play hide and seek instead of sitting there playing digital hide and seek. It makes you sad that everything is progressing to this point. And some of us kind of, like, I don't think I would be too sad if we just lost cell phones and the internet. I think I would be able to manage perfectly fine if all of this went away. It wouldn't be fun at first, but I think people would adapt to it really fast. This futuristic place that they're showing us where we own nothing and we'll be happy, I'm not a fan. What do you guys think? If it totally made us go backwards, would you want to go back to the good old days, or do you think those are the bad old days and these are the good old days? Let me know in the comments down below. Very funky photos there. All right, and then U.S. is ready to fight in space if we have to, says military official. Well, why are we having to? Well, China supposedly has their space station up in the sky, which it is said is a weapon of some sort, and it's crucial to their military. It's not just surveillance. It is some sort of space weapon, in my opinion. Lisa, by the way, Lisa says, yes, take me back. Yes, Tiffany, yes, go back. Danish girl says, go back. There's a lot of people. Yes, 1950s. This is that, like, yeah, I mean, seriously. It really does. It is really sad. I mean, if you really sit down and sit by yourself and just kind of absorb it all, it's really sad what has happened to these kids. And you can debate if they're being changed by social media, but it's pretty hard to say that these kids aren't a whole lot different from the last generation. And you guys probably thought our generation was, with our hip hop and rap music and all of that. Man, you thought, it couldn't get worse than this. Worse said, "Hey, hold my beer." That's what happened. And it got worse. But it said the U.S. is ready for conflict in outer space, according to the senior military official, after developing anti-satellite technologies to counter the threats posed by provocative countries such as Russia and China. Brigadier General Jesse Morehouse at the U.S. Space Command, the arm of the military responsible for space operations, said that Russian aggression and China's vision to become the dominant space power by mid-century had left the U.S. with no choice but to prepare for orbital skirmishes. So Dex, they're saying they're going to have some Star Wars here. This is literally talking about Star Wars.
Absolutely. And I think first and foremost, we know what's up, and it's going to be satellites, destruction of satellites. And what are they going to do? Maybe before that might be a little bit more of espionage-ish kind of activities, like spying on satellites or trying to, see if you can take information from satellites and intercept them. But I think that more quickly, we're going to see that they're worried about the actual destruction, because you can imagine if a major satellite that's being used that helps the military, see certain things that they're doing on operations, and taking that satellite out, helps the adversary. If they do it, it's not like we can put another one up immediately. It takes a long time. You have to build it. You have to plan the launch. You have to get the rockets ready. It's not an overnight thing. It can probably be sped up somewhat, but ultimately, that's the type of scenario I'm thinking that we'll immediately start to see is this destruction of objects that are owned by adversaries up in space.
Sorry, my mic wasn't plugged in there all the way. A couple of people talking about they would go back to the 70s, to the 90s. Nobody said the 80s. That's kind of funny. I don't think anyone said the 80s.
I will.
You would really want to go back to the 80s?
If it's the only thing I could go back to, I'd take it for sure.
Well, okay. That was when Back to the Future came out. I'll give you that. There was a lot of really good things in the 80s. Besides the hair, minus the hair, I think the 80s had a lot of cool stuff. And they had Transformers. They had... the
clothing sucked.
Thundercats, right? That was 80s, wasn't it? The clothes sucked. Or, yeah, the weird triangles and... Or was that 90s? That was sort of 90s too, but 80s where
I'm thinking parachute pants. Do you remember that crap?
With the MC Hammer? Oh man, I know. And this show falls into these I fall into these things because reminiscing about this stuff is kind of painful. Because time goes so fast, and most of you are over 30, most definitely. A lot of you are over 40, 50, 60. You don't realize when you're a kid and they tell you how fast time goes until the older you get, and they say, the older you get, the faster it goes. It's a real thing, and it goes so fast. And you're sitting there and you're going, wait, you're nearly 40 years old. You're nearly 50. You're nearly 60. And it's just, it doesn't seem... and time just starts going faster, and you start going, it's Monday again. It's Monday again. It's the next month. It's the next year, and it's the harder, and you get more distant from your childhood. Up until your 30s, you can remember a lot of your childhood, but the farther you get, there's little things that stick out, but it's harder to remember, and that's a different lifetime almost. It's like that was a different person. And it's crazy to think about what we had when we were kids, and it just sounds like what I hear, the old people, how they talked when I was a kid, and I thought, okay, Grandpa. Now I'm almost old enough to be one. It's crazy. My oldest is 17. I mean, like, that's nuts. Luckily, she's not a mom. Jerry Springer style. Dex, go ahead. You said something?
I was just gonna say Duck Hunt and Super Mario Brothers on an NES, 85 all the way.
Even the click it made, the bang bang, it went clink, ding, meow, 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 meow. Yeah, that was awesome. Duck Hunt and Mario combo. That's what it was all about. And then China announces plan to land astronauts on the moon. And now I saw somebody say, all talking about all of this, and we probably never even went to the moon. By the way, I'm totally supportive of anybody and everybody, no matter what your view is on the space subject, whether it exists or not. And I really appreciate the folks that totally don't believe that we went, that believe something different about Earth, believe all of that. I totally support you being here and having a great time, but just like the people that don't believe what you believe, not getting on your case about what you believe, I think it's a good thing to not get on other people's cases about what they believe or calling people stupid for what they believe. It's a lot better when we are all just like, this is what I believe, cool. And then the more you talk about what you believe, other people, if they will fall and learn about that, they will learn about it. If they don't, it's a more peaceful place if you don't give everybody crap about it. I cover space stuff because I, nor any of us here, have been to space and really been up there. So we can't really null or confirm or deny anything, regardless of how many experiments, this or that, because there's just as many that disprove and this thing. So until I actually go to space myself, I'm not going to try to disprove anybody on anything. But I do believe in space, and call me what you want about it. But I do think that it may not be what we think it is, because who knows? We don't actually know. We have been taught all of these things out of history books and textbooks, and now knowing how much they have fudged history and how much they're fudging current history, what kids in 40 years will read back to what is happening now, I don't believe much. And it says China announces plan to land astronauts on the moon by 2030. Again, this 2030 date. It says China plans on to complete a mission to land a person on the moon by 2030. A government official announced on Monday in the highest level confirmation of China's ambitions for a crewed lunar landing. Chinese scientists have previously nodded at a 2030 goal in less formal capacity. For example, the chief designer of China's lunar exploration program said last month that a 2030 landing would be, quote, no problem. It says we can clasp the moon in the ninth heaven. That's a weird way to put it. Dex, did that quote, we can clasp the moon in the ninth heaven. Is this something to do with the heavenly mandate? I wonder.
It's a quote from Mao Zedong poem, a poem he did. So that's what it's in reference to. I don't know what he was referring to in that poem, though.
And it says Mr. Lin said that the moon landing project, part of the country's broader lunar exploration project, also known for Chang'e project, which, by the way, you can say that means something, but it's literally change. I mean, I know it means something in Chinese, but it literally spells change, and I think they probably know that. For the Chinese moon goddess, it says, recently been kickstarted, though we did not offer specifics. The project would also seek to enable short-term stays on the lunar surface, as well as collect samples and conduct research, he said. Imagine if China, the way that they work, ended up sending people there to prisons or something, like straight out of a Marvel movie. They actually have, some sort of prison on the moon. It says a manned lunar landing would be a major milestone for China and the world's space exploration. No human has been on the moon since the United States Apollo missions in the 1960s and 70s. Yeah, there's a lot of questions there. The biggest one that still gets people to this day is why in the world we haven't gone back to the moon since our computers, the computer we went to the moon with, supposedly, was as powerful as the microchip in a birthday card that sings happy birthday to you when you open it up. That little chip inside of that birthday card is as powerful as the lunar lander. That's how powerful the computer was in that lunar lander. And you're saying since we had this huge boom, how have we not gone back? How do we not have a 24/7 lunar lander looking at Earth that we can literally watch and have a connection to? How would they not have tons of things going back and forth? Unless they actually already do. So if they did go, and the reason they haven't gone back is because they've been there the whole time, that would make more sense than they just didn't go for 30, 40 years. It doesn't make any sense. Now that we went through our technological boom and we have technology to do the craziest things, it doesn't make sense. That's the biggest question I have about it. And they have excuses for it, and they have reasons, and they have logical reasons for it. But it doesn't make sense to me. And then the United Arab Emirates is heading for the asteroid belt. What the hell? Dex, this is weird. Everybody's going to space now.
Yeah, my money's on this is about mining. They're really good at finding resources and making tons and tons of money off of it, like oil. So I would think something like the asteroid belt is an opportunistic place for anyone to try to mine something and bring it back. That's not what they're saying. That's just my speculation. But yeah, hot off the heels of their probe, I guess it's the Hope spacecraft that is going around Mars. They have now added a new mission, which is to go to the asteroid belt and get out to that location. I think they're looking for a 2028 launch date, and by February 2030, this spacecraft will arrive at the Westerwald, a 1.4 mile wide asteroid zipping past at 20,000 miles per hour. On its way to visit 6 more objects in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. So pretty interesting challenge, I guess, for them. But at the same time, what are they going to do with it? Where's it going to take them? Again, my bet is they're looking for, rare or new types of material that can be extremely valuable back here on Earth.
I think that's a cover. They named it the Hope spacecraft. Under part of my crazy beliefs, they're saying the one that was studying and circling and studying Mars is called the Hope spacecraft. Everyone is trying to get to the moon, and then, of course, Elon Musk says that they need to terraform Mars, and the only chance for human society is that if we are a multi-planetary society, and that we need to be able to live on Mars. He plans to get so many people there, and he is an end of the worlder. He believes that the world is close to some sort of cataclysm, or at least it will eventually. And our hope is to be a multi-planetary place. Israel even went to the moon. They sent a thing. Then, of course, the UAE. You could say, oh, they're going there for gold or diamonds or some rare thing. I don't. They are still doing the oil thing. They've got so much money. It's crazy. But now they're going to the asteroid belt. Under my other theory that there may be some sort of thing coming our way, and the governments of the world don't yet want to tell civilians, and they're literally having every government work on how to knock asteroids out of place or out of the way. They have the DART mission, Osiris Rex, Osiris Apex. They have the Hammer mission, hypervelocity asteroid and mitigation emergency vehicle, a nuke on the end of a rocket. They have Hayabusa 2, all these missions, and of course the recent double asteroid redirection test, which they're doing. Why are they doing all of this? And they all happen. They want to do something by 2030. Like as if there's a date in the near future. Now, I will say this. I just watched a very interesting piece, and I read the white papers from it, talking about the MIT, the study. MIT believes that there will be a global kind of collapse by 2040, or a complete collapse of everything globally by 2040. And I I didn't hear about this. I think I might have covered it a while back, but I didn't really know how deep it went into how and why they thought this, as far as resources, economy, population, everything, and they believe that. So it would make sense that 2030 or 2030 something, they would want to get something done for the very rich and elite if things are going to get really bad here. And of course, there's all sorts of agendas that go along with that as well. So who knows what's true and what's not. By the way, one of the biggest threats out there is EMP. If you haven't already, make sure to go over and check out EMP Shield, because this is an actual way to protect your cars, your trucks, all of your devices. In fact, even your generators. You can even get one for your Flex 1500. This is the new EMP Shield Micro. It's about a third of the size, and it is all of the same protection. It grounds the signal of an EMP, all three phases, before it's able to fry your device, or your car, or your ATV, your boat, your motorcycle, your RV, whatever you're putting this in, including they have a home version, before it fries your device in less than 500 trillionths of a second. It can also protect you against a CME, a coronal mass ejection, or a Carrington level event. So this is huge. This is going to be something that where no one else is able to drive away, you will be able to. Or if you are trying to get home to bug in, this is something that you want to have on all your vehicles. You also want to have it on your solar generators, your gas generators, and your RVs, anything else that you want to protect. This is a really smart move. Go to marfooglenews.com/EMP. You'll get $50 off per device, and that stacks on top of every sale they have. So I'm pretty sure, I don't even have to look. I'm pretty sure they'll probably have some sort of memorial thing going, but make sure to go check. I don't know if that is true. Dex, can we check? They probably have some sort of thing right now, don't they? You would think, because it's EMP Shield. But usually all of our sales on EMP, they all stack. So you will guaranteed get the $50 off per device, and it always stacks with their sales as well. Is there?
Yeah, they're doing 10% off site-wide, so 10% off, and you get our $50 per device, so it stacks. So combine it. Use our link, use our code, and get in while you can.
Yep, and that's tax in my state, plus $50 off. So make sure to go check it out. And again, it's stacked. So great thing. Dex, let's first of all, let me thank you, D-Live Cab 7 Ben. Hey, it's nice to see you. It says you're old when all of the actors of your youth are gone now. Yeah, I think about it. I think I watched one of the new Scream movies, and I don't know why it was horrible. But the newest Scream has Courtney Cox in it. Anybody that used to watch Friends on TV just not too long ago, she doesn't even look like the same human being. She's totally messed up her face with surgery. Jennifer Aniston, even now. And the thing is, I think that both of those women, if they didn't do any surgery, would have aged gracefully and would have looked beautiful into their 80s. But when they start looking like that plastic alien thing, that is just so gross to me. And what I think about is the deeper thing there, where women and men in Hollywood, they are at the spotlight and they're put under this pressure to be so pretty, and they were called pretty or called handsome for so many years. And then when things start falling apart, it's like they can't deal with that. They have to have people think that they're handsome and they're pretty, or they stop getting those compliments, or they start getting criticized in public and they just can't take it. And then they go get surgery and they look 10 times as worse. What is the point if you look somewhat unwrinkled if you look like some sort of piece of plastic? It looks worse. I think it looks worse than being naturally old. It's gross in my opinion, but that's just my opinion. Cab 7, it's crazy to see all of these people. Gosh, it makes you sad. Like I like the Picard series, but it's like now, what's his face is getting so old he won't be able to even do it. Beer Juice, Cab 7 Ben, they should have done a Next Generation like 2.0 way long ago and just kept it going. That's just my opinion though. Thankful to have lived in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, says Cab 7. Had to be home before the street lamps went on. That's funny. We went home probably 30 minutes after, but. And then thank you over on YouTube. Thank you. Bones and Tubs, Carol, thank you. Stephanie Cook, Kurt Swanson, thank you. Memorial Day weekend, lest we forget. Much love. Zen1AZ, again, thank you. Jane, thank you. Tim, thank you. Celtic Warrior, thank you. And of course, Steve-O, thank you. I appreciate that. Stephanie Munoz, thank you. Wizlor Jalapena, thank you for joining the Marfia family. Thank you for getting that Marfia badge. And then Disaster Prediction app. That sounds cool. Thank you so much for joining the app. Temple Chris, Articuno Gaming, and Mir504. Thank you for joining the Marfoogle fam and grabbing the Marfia badge on YouTube. Dex, let's go over the web only. We've got some crazy stuff here.
We certainly do. Head over to marfooglenews.com, click on the thumbnail for the show, or open up that show notes link down below in the description. It'll take you right here to the webpage for today's show. All of the news and information that we just covered is right there linked for you. And then you'll find this yellow bar that says overflow. This is where the rest of the story is. So everything else that either didn't fit or some additional content that goes along with what we've already talked about, as well as other topics, especially in the political realm, that we try not to get everybody all riled up about. But lots happening. So interesting video about some birds. There was not really an article for this, but hundreds of birds apparently are washing up on a Chilean beach. So if you want to know more about it, it was put out by Reuters, I believe. You can go check that out. Not a lot of information known just yet, but by the way, it's not the first time this has happened in Chile. They've had numerous events like this have happened in the past. So, but definitely interesting to say the least. Get this, the current president was asked if he would pardon the previous president, and of course he laughed and walked away, didn't talk about it. Pretty funny. It was a kind of a crazy question. You see those from reporters from time to time. They like to throw out the outlandish stuff. Definitely got a little bit of the political spectrum going on here. We've got what's happening with T-Man. There's some updates with the court case. There's some updates around what was going on with the potential debt limit deal, if it's going to actually get approved. We've seen some interesting things happening around the globe with the iCountry again, wanting to create diplomatic ties with Egypt. That would be interesting to see what would happen. The ex-El Salvador president was sentenced to 14 years for some actions that he was taking. And there's some interesting things going on in other parts of the world, including NK, which we already talked about. There's some supportive stuff there. And by the way, do you remember the whole Natalie Holloway? That thing is coming back around again. And apparently, what's his name? Joran van der Sloot, I believe. He got his butt whooped in prison severely. So that's making news. And I think there's a new trial coming up for that as well. We definitely got some updates with what's happening in UKR, everything from the Wagner Group, once again, criticizing what's happening, and other people talking about whether or not he can overthrow Putin. Of course, we've got some new stuff being signed into law. This was some of it was last week. Some of it's recent around deportations and stuff like that, that actually breached the Geneva Conventions. That's going on over there in Russia right now. There's, of course, the obligatory Musk article that tends to always come out trashing him. They're talking about what's going on in the rural communities in Texas. And then some other updates around the other things that are happening here in America, from vacant skyscrapers to activists that are gearing up for the big stuff that's going on next month or starting next month. So all of that and a whole lot more. I didn't even tell you all of it. It's right there on our website. Just click on the show notes link down below in the description. It'll take you right here, and you can get the rest of the story.
And that last story there, terrifying month as threats increase and brands drop out. Maybe they're, again, I would think that brands would be afraid to go all out on certain things, but on the original Pride stuff, I don't think that there's much problem with. I think it's the new Pride stuff that is really a dangerous topic right now. And then thank you, everybody, for making it tonight. Thanks, your mods. I saw Rip Curl. I saw Wages. I saw Leah. Thank you, everybody. And again, I may not have seen you, but thank you so much. Make sure to drop an M in the chat right now for our great mods. They have done an awesome, awesome, awesome job tonight. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And make sure to go over to the website, check out all of the content over there. And then Thursday and Friday, we're going to have callers. And we are set up for guests, so we're lining some stuff up. We have everything set up for that. So if you have a guest idea, please send it to us, adam@marfooglenews.com or dex@marfooglenews.com. Please understand, though, if there's somebody that's not, that already got booted or something, it would definitely get us booted if we bring them on. So keep that in mind. We usually get, bring on Alex Jones. Well, it's not really possible, even if it was. And then, if you have videos this week, if something crazy happens, go to marfooglenews.com/playmyvideos. Send us your videos. We would love to show more of your content. For us to do that consistently, you guys have to consistently be out there. And if you see something crazy, don't forget to double tap your power button, get that on video, and send it to us. It's much better than you sending us links to other YouTube videos that you don't have permission for. Send us your own personal videos, and we will show them. We want to show what the Foogle fam has to offer, and we want to show your what's going on around the country. So if you see something, take a video of it and send it to us, and we'll show it. Again, that's at marfooglenews.com/playmyvideo. It's very easy. You just upload it to YouTube and then go over to that website, and you'll be able to give us permission for it, and then we'll show it on the show. So very, very simple. Thank you, everybody. Do try to check out our affiliates. Again, we are heading into a really tough time during the next 6 months, during this whole time where everybody picks. This is going to be the scariest time for us. So thank you, everybody that shares us out, that gets us and tries to share our stuff on different social media platforms. Let us know if you find anything weird, like if you share it on a platform and it says you can't. Let us know. If there's anything like that, please notify us. I don't think there's anything right now, but going into the next few months, there probably will. So thank you guys. Love you. Thank you, mods. Thank you, of course, all of the Foogle fam. And thank you again for all of the support tonight. Much love. Thank you, Dex.
Much love, brother. Great job.
It is now time for the shoutro. It's not an outro. It's not a shout out. It's a shoutro.
Thank you for what you did for me and my kids. Thank you for the freedoms we live. I said thank you for what you did for me and my kids. Thank you for the freedoms we live. I said thank you for what you did for me and my kids. Thank you for the freedoms we live. I said thank you for what you did for me and my kids. Thank you for the freedoms we live. I said thank you for what you did for me and my kids. Thank you for the freedoms we live. I said thank you for what you did for me and my kids. Thank you for the freedoms we live.
Thank you, Nickel Wise, Shirley W. Thank you, Jonathan Earl. My friend Love Beatbox. Let's hear Martin. I'll call it a miracle. How's that? Martin, hey, nice to redonk your hands. Alex Conrad, thank you. Wolves, Sarah Berra, Alicia, ADMD or DMD. I see y'all be, everybody know.
I said, Wiz Lord Jalapeno, a disaster prediction app in the temple of greed. Articuno gave me in the mural 504. Bones in the curve show lore. So kitty kitty, oh bring it with me. Everybody know now. Got them full of battle, after shadow. Everybody gotta go get the El Gato. Kitty kitty, oh bring.
Let's make a fresh one. And tonight it will be for Zenwet. Thank you for being top supporter tonight. I appreciate you.
I said I was on the way on the store.